Sound advice.
All right, guys, welcome to Sound Advice, episode 4. This is Kirsten, and today we're going to talk about health, mental health, overall health, all that kind of stuff.
Wait, what about us?
Yeah, we're here.
Introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Kelsey,
And it's your boy Marcus.
and we back.
Yeah, we're back, as usual.
Kirsten trying to do the episode by herself.
Solo.
I could do it.
Anyway, mental health. Kirsten, since you want to take the reins so much, what you got to say?
All right, so first topic, we're going to start with a new little segment called Taboo Talks, and we're going to introduce, topics that obviously kind of taboo to talk about. So mental health is our first one. So we're going to start with mental health just in general, for anyone. So mental health, how do you go about telling your parents, your friends? Have you encountered it? Have you had friends that encountered it? What have you done? Stuff like that.
For me, I feel like, in general, I'm a very nervous person. So I almost want to say anxiety, but I don't think it's on, the level that some people experience anxiety. Although sometimes it can totally ramp up, but...
Yeah, I think a lot of people, that's interesting to say because a lot of people say they have anxiety, and I feel like it I'm not saying you don't have tendencies or anything like that, but it kind of cheapens, I guess, the word.
Definitely.
If you're not diagnosed, you can tell when you have it or an anxiety attack, you can definitely tell that, but I think the overuse of it is pretty prevalent today.
True. But I also feel like a lot of people do experience stuff, at least along the spectrum, and maybe you shouldn't, self-diagnose, but definitely look into it. But yeah, in terms of that, I think it also, this is kind of stems off the same idea, I guess, seasonal depression. That's the one time of the year that really, it hits me. I just get, very sad during, the holiday time period, I guess, October to, December. I'm just, dead.
No, I am the same way. I think Christmas is really fun, but I think right after right after my birthday, I'm like, wow, no. Yeah, starting a new semester, which is supposed to be fun and stuff, I think it's, overwhelming. So I definitely get that. And I think that's why it's interesting because most people associate summer with fun and relaxation and happiness and winter with not. So I think it's a really common thing.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like seasons, they do have influence on our emotions, which is, interesting to say the least. And in regards to anxiety, I read in my psychology book just a couple days ago, actually, there's 2 different kinds of anxiety, at least. There's state anxiety and there's trait anxiety. So trait anxiety is anxiety that you pretty much have, from birth, as if it's a real mental health issue, right? And then state anxiety is just anxiety that you'll get in situational moments, So, for example, if you were to be worrying about a test that you're about to take, you would get state anxiety because you're trying to make sure you do well and you've got all this stuff that you're worrying about, right? While then trait anxiety, you'll be worried about the test, but you're just worried in general, So, I guess that would be the difference. I know I have state anxiety sometimes, when things come up, but in general, I'm not too anxious.
True.
And a lot of people, like you said, the test anxiety is what a lot of people call it. But I've experienced a lot of people that have that, and especially in college, how detrimental that could be to you, to the point where you mess yourself up just by, going to the test and you just freak out and you know everything, but you can't apply it. So a lot of people do get help for that, and they're able to get more time outside of class to do the test or something like that. So if you ever feel stuff like that, I don't think you should be afraid to ask because that is a common thing.
Yeah, I feel like in general, if you think there's something, wrong with you or you're feeling some type of way that, you want to fix.
Feeling some type of way.
Feeling some type of way.
Got him.
I think you should kind of, maybe not seek help, but, talk to somebody. There's parents, friends, even teachers, or, anybody. I don't know, people will be willing to sit down and talk to you, and your feelings are valid, I think, no matter what. They can be, irrational, but they are valid, and I think it's important to address them and try to change them for the better.
You can't control how you feel, right? If you feel a certain way, you can't say, oh, I don't feel this way. That's how you feel, so you just got to let that happen, and then I guess talk to somebody about it. Which was what we were trying to talk about, right? Telling parents or friends. Would you guys, do you guys tell your parents or your friends, when you're feeling certain types of ways?
See, for me, I know last episode I kind of dragged on my family a little bit, or I guess 2 episodes ago, but, I think mental health is kind of a weird issue in my family, and I feel like it's most families like that. They try to kind of cover it up and be like, oh, we're all happy and healthy here, and if, something's wrong with somebody, it's oh, they're the weird one, and I feel like that, isolates the person, and it's not good, and it's not a healthy dynamic. So I mean, talking to your family can be hard sometimes because they can be like that. But again, you should like look out to people who are accepting and who will talk about it, like your friends. Like, in my experience, like friends are always there for me and they're very supportive, and I appreciate that. So if you have that support in your life, that's good.
Yeah, I think the family thing, the image, a lot of people with their family have this huge image that they're trying to uphold constantly, not just on social media, but in general. Like, oh, we all are happy, successful. Here's what everyone's doing. So if you're kind of not on the same level or falling behind, and that could even make you feel kind of depressed or anxious because you kind of feel like you're not caught up with everyone else in your family. So yeah, I think a lot of people can't talk to their family about it, and I don't think you should I mean, it's upsetting, but you should also realize, like Kelsey said, there's other people that I'm sure you're able to talk to, and you kind of have to realize that, especially in certain environments, a lot of people are feeling the same way, like new environments, school, where there's a lot of people your age and experiencing new and different things. It can happen to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny that a lot of people have problems trying to talk to their parents about stuff, because there was a time when my dad, well, not a time, I mean, my dad always used to talk to me and be asking me how I'm doing and stuff, and that would be really annoying for me sometimes. But looking back on that, I mean, it just made me more comfortable to be able to talk to him about anything, so I really appreciated that. Looking back, just like, in the moment I used to hate it. But yeah, I mean, talking to friends, like, friends are always looking out for you, so, and we're all just trying to make it together. It's really cool when you have, like, a dynamic with somebody who's, I guess, in the same stage of life as you are.
Mm-hmm.
So you both get to kind of, hit the struggle bus together.
Yeah, I think I like your point about your dad, always asking, because my mom is always just not worrying, but making sure I'm okay and, where I'm at, how I'm feeling, stuff like that. And I used to be the same way where a lot of times when I'm upset, I push people away.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something I would always do growing up. And I definitely look back and realize, like, I'm so lucky to have a parent that would care that much. And I think if your other friends are kind of doing the same thing where they're asking, you're probably going to rationally get upset because a lot of people have that response. But I think after you feel that, you have to realize that they're looking out what's best for you. And maybe in the moment you might attack them or push back, but you have to come back around and say, like, I'm sorry that I reacted that way. Like, here's why this happened.
I think it's even like significant that we even called this segment Taboo Talks because it's about mental health, and I don't think it should be a taboo talk. And I think it's like great your families like ask about your feelings and stuff, because usually when people think of health, they think of like physical health. Like if you have a broken leg, like that's something they can see and be like, oh, okay, you can't like go to school today. But if you're like, man, I'm having really bad anxiety, like a lot of people don't tend to think of that as just as like destabilizing and as bad. And I think it's important to kind of embrace it as something that is real and is valid.
And I think on that point, there is a kind of a culture lately of young people being like, oh, you should always take mental health days, always give yourself a break. And I think you definitely have to find a balance between that and just living. I think it depends too what your situation is, obviously. But I think sometimes you just have to push yourself, and obviously you can take, a day break, but like, if it gets in the way of your schooling or your work, or you may lose your job, I think if you don't look into professional help, you're going to kind of harm your future, honestly, if you lose your job or something. So I honestly, this might not be for everyone, but maybe try and pinpoint what your biggest issue is if you do have depression or something. Obviously, a lot of times people just have it, like Marcus said, sometimes people are just born with it. But for some certain people, maybe giving presentations is what gives them most anxiety, or a certain aspect of their life, maybe a friendship that they don't really fit into anymore is kind of always on their mind or always on your mind. So I think maybe trying to pinpoint some of these problems and working on them or getting rid of them is really helpful.
With me, I think, again, like it's kind of tough love to be like, hey, you should go out and do what like makes you nervous, but I do think it helps to at least practice those things. And obviously it gives you anxiety or whatever it makes you feel, and it's uncomfortable doing it, but I think it's important to even like push yourself. Like I know for me personally, like this is dumb and I feel like a lot of people have this, but like fear of talking on the telephone, like for a lot of people that can be like a very harrowing task. And for me it was, but then I got like a job where I had to talk to people on the phone and I got used to it. So I think if you do practice the things that like make you nervous, it can greatly reduce your anxiety.
Yeah, I had public speaking class, which most people are required to take, and like other most people as well, I really did not enjoy speaking in front of crowds. I've gotten a lot better, but at the same time, I just really didn't want to do it. You know, it was something that I was dreading every time. But I actually had a really good professor, and throughout the class, I wasn't looking forward to giving speeches, but I wasn't as nervous as I probably would have been if I had a different professor. So I think it's important to, if you have these people in your life that push you kind of to do these things, but in a positive way, they can really help you overcome things. Like, he really did help me just realize, like, it's really not a big deal. Most people are focusing on themselves going up next or whatever, and not really, obviously they're listening, but they're not noticing little things. So if you find kind of crutches throughout your life that can help you with these problems, that'll be helpful.
That's true.
Well, you were talking about your professor in your public speaking class, so why don't we use that as a trampoline to kind of spring into the more specific topic of mental health in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about how to handle what mental health issues that you might have in college.
Yeah.
Stuff like trying to fit in, stress in classes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I think going back to what Kirsten said, even about social media, like in this day and age, like so many people will post and say like, oh, I'm having this great time, and it's kind of like a lie about their life. But when you're like seeing that as a viewer, I think it can cause like fear of missing out, or, you know, like, I don't know, just depression that you're not involved or you're not doing what they're doing. And you kind of, FOMO, you like kind of compare yourself to them. And I think that's a huge thing in college.
What is FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Oh, I thought it was like fear of moving on or something.
Really?
Fear
You
of
didn't
moving
know
on.
that? You never heard that?
Yeah, never heard
It was
of it.
it was like a quick phrase though. No one uses it that much anymore.
That's true.
But
Still prevalent.
no, I agree with that too. And I think it's kind of funny because a lot of people now, you'll notice that they're like, oh, I'm spending Friday night alone watching Netflix. I won't want to be doing anything else. And it's like, I mean, that gets old after a while. So for me personally, I think it's funny when I see people trying to prove that they're having fun, even if they're not. And it's almost kind of more sad because I feel like a lot of those people do want to go out, be having fun with these other people, but, you know, they weren't invited or they don't feel comfortable with themselves yet or something. So, yeah, if you can just avoid social media on, like, if you're that person that gets really lonely or feeling kind of jealous, maybe try and avoid, just going on social media and just doing your own thing so it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, social media is a very strange outlet because, especially on stuff like Instagram, Facebook, people will always be trying to, I call it flex. You know, you try to flex on the gram or you're flexing on the Facebook where you're just pretty much, posting pictures of places you're going, things you're doing, and, just trying to look like you have a very vibrant, colorful, full life, make people want to say, hey, like, this guy's doing something really cool. I want to be like him or want to be like her, stuff like that, And a lot of the time, I mean, it's all fake. I mean, a lot of the time. Now, of course, like, people are still doing stuff with their life. Like, that's real.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some people will, like, go to, for example, like, they'll go to, like, concerts or something, or they'll go to events just so they can get a picture off and put it on Facebook or something like that, I mean, and it is what it is, but it definitely makes people feel a certain type of way if they're watching it and they, they wish that they were in that situation. So, I mean, if you want to get on social media like that and check that out, I mean, go do something with them or go do something on your own and do the same type of thing. But don't actually flex. I mean, that's just, that's weak.
I mean, I wouldn't say shame the people who do post pictures because, I mean, they are enjoying their lives. And I know for me, like, I am a person who, like, not gets lonely, but, like, feels like my life is, like, subpar. So when I am doing something, I'm like, oh, I should post about this and feel good about it because I'm out here doing stuff. But at the same time, I get the other side as well. Like, if you're watching people do something and you're like, oh, I want to be a part of that. But like Marcus said, like, if you want to be with them, just, like, hit them up. Be like, hey, let's hang out and see where that goes.
I mean, seriously, like, if you're one of their friends, chances are, like, if they go to, like, a concert, I brought that up again. But, like, if you say, yo, I'm going to a concert, right? And then your friend's like, yo, I want to go. Like, chances are you're going to be like, yeah, of course. Like, come with me. Like, it'll be fun. So why not?
And I think I get your point, Kelsey, where it's like, oh, I want to show that I am, because I don't get this, this is a special time. And I totally agree. But I also think for those people, this is very cliche, but just being, you don't have to show every single moment of what you're doing with other people.
Right.
And I think it's bad if you get into a bad habit of being like, I'm posting this just for this specific person to see, or, I know this person's going to look at it. Like, that's very easy to fall into, and a lot of people do it. That's common. But I think once you're friends with someone for a while, a lot of that kind of falls away, and you're like, oh, I'll take a quick Snapchat, but let's go back to what we're doing. I think that's really a nice thing to do, especially if it's not out of ill intent, towards others.
Yeah, when it's towards like ill intent, like you said, like I think that's when it gets bad. Like if you're trying to make somebody like jealous or something, then that's when it's like cross the line. You shouldn't do that. But I think if you're just like enjoying yourself and you're like, hey, I want a picture, like I don't think it's terrible to post it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I mean by flexing. Like, you're just out there trying to make people feel, jelly about you.
And also, kind of on the same point, I know first few weeks of my freshman year, it was really difficult for me, and I wasn't really friends with that many people on social media through my college, but just seeing them going out and getting ready in their dorms, or going out, and you know what I mean, like you just see them around you, and I think that's really hard for a lot of freshmen or just people in college. Is a lot of times college towns are very much go every weekend, go do something, and you have to just if you're a person that likes alone time. And I'm a person that loves alone time, but even my freshman semester, I still was like, okay, I feel like I should be doing more. So be comfortable with how much time you spend. If you like spending a lot of time alone, still be comfortable in that. But also, it's a really great idea to try and branch out. And you're not stuck in this bubble of like, oh, I like alone time. Like you can change yourself, and you can change who you are and how much time you like spending with people. And that's why I think the labels of like introvert and extrovert are kind of dangerous sometimes, because if you label yourself as an introvert and like throughout your whole life, a lot of times you might say no to stuff just because you're like, oh, well, I don't know how I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, they probably won't like me, blah, blah, blah. You have to realize you're changing every day, and it's not really a permanent part of you.
That's fair. I don't know. I think sometimes, again, like sometimes fear is irrational. And I think if you are like scared to do some things, like you should obviously try to push out of your like bubble and your limit and everything. But I don't know. I think sometimes it's very overwhelming. And that kind of leads on to this topic of like stress. Like obviously in college, there's lots of things that stress you out, not only like social situations, but like even just the workload, and then also trying to balance your social life and balance like your home life and all these different things. And stress is not fun.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Honestly, I'm impressed with us and just everyone around us and how many things people are doing constantly. Like, I feel like some people I know are doing something literally every hour of the day, whether it be clubs, meetings, sports, classes. It's kind of crazy and overwhelming. And I think you have to be careful if you look at someone and you're like, wow, they're doing all that. I'm sure I can handle the same amount. Right. And you might sign up for something and you might be, okay, first of all, this is kind of a waste of time for me. I don't enjoy it. And second of all, I don't have time for other things. So make time for yourself. And if you don't enjoy an activity, don't feel bad that you're going to leave it. It's it depends the activity, but most of the time you can go ahead and leave something without a repercussion happening.
Definitely. Like if you don't like something, then don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough stuff to do on campus that you can find stuff that you want to do. So definitely.
Yeah, there's options. And if you'd rather, though, take a break from classes and go home, that's totally fine, too.
Yeah, and again, like, don't overwhelm yourself with so much stuff because, like, people will burn out. Like, you will burn out if you try to tackle on everything. So I think that's important. Like, just make sure you kind of do time managing.
Yeah, but what about, like, the stresses of classes themselves, like just classes, right? Because, I mean, some of my classes can be really stressful, and I don't take, like Physics 3 and Calc 4, stuff like that. Like, so, what would you guys say is a good way to manage stress with the classes that you're taking?
In terms of classes, like at least like homework, I would say like just don't procrastinate. Like do your homework like way before it's due, and then by the time it is due, like just turn it in. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, and it's easier said than done. But I don't know, just having the workload done and not even trying for like excellent grades. Like if you're the type of person who wants excellent grades, like go ahead. But I don't know, sometimes in some particular classes, like putting forth an extra effort is not even worth it, to be honest. So just do what you feel comfortable with.
See, I'm a huge organizer, and a large part of my time is spent just organizing for the future. So if you're on the same level, I would suggest obviously a planner, or there's a system called bullet journaling out there where you just write down every single thing you're trying to do for that day. And I do it weekly. And sometimes little things can be overwhelming. Like, oh, I want to go to the gym today, but what if I don't make time? What if I forget? Write it down too. Like write down every single thing oh, I have to make lunch for the next day. That's obvious, but I want to write down to remember, stuff like that. If you are scared you're going to forget about something, or again, if it just feels like too much is piling on, just literally just make a list of every single thing you want to do that day, and kind of realize what things really need to be done, what doesn't matter as much. And I think planning out assignments, for essays, for example, like I'll plan out how many pages a day I want to write, which that might not work for everyone, but for me, it's like, okay, I wanted a goal to at least write 2 pages today. If I do more than that, that's fine, but I can't do less. And just keep going like that.
No, I like that. I mean, it reminds me of time management, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're trying to manage your time. I feel like that's a perfect way to segue into our next segment, which is juggling act, trying to manage health while we're still young, trying to find a balance of exercising and making time, finding out the health with sleeping and maybe doctor's visits. So let's talk about exercising, right? Making time to exercise, still going to class, and still keeping up your social and family time, right?
Mm-hmm.
True.
Well, I think you can combine, working out with also social. Join a sports team, go work out with your roommate, go running with your friend. I think that's a really good combination of where you guys rely on each other to both go out there, because you both have to do it. And then you can talk to them and have fun, but also exercise at the same time.
That's true. Kirsten plays on a soccer team, and
With Marcus.
Yo.
I
That should
sit
be
on the
united.
bleachers. But yeah, exercising, I think if you don't have that kind of outlet, like if you're not very athletic and you're bad at sports, like Kelsey Mona, hey, I don't know. I think you just have to like have little regimes that you do. Like even if it's just like walking's excellent. Like take the long way around to like class or something, or just do whatever it takes. Like take the stairs.
I love how you said that. Walking is excellent.
It is, and I feel like it's very underrated. Although everyone does it, but it's like a good form of exercise.
I mean, honestly, the fact that we live on if you live on a campus that's pretty big and you have to walk all day to classes, that's a decent amount of exercise that a lot of people sitting at a desk all day don't get. So I think take that to your advantage. Like she said, walk the long way or something.
Yeah.
Just to get in a few more steps.
And then if you don't have access to like a gym or something, even just doing like workouts, like if you look them up on like your computer and you like follow along or something, or if you have your own weights or whatever, I think that's also good to do too if you have the time to do it.
Yo, have you ever done, that reminds me, have you ever done Zumba?
Do I have not?
I want to so bad, but I have not. But there's a class at the Southwest Gym.
Oh, for real?
For free.
Yeah.
Every
Oh,
Wednesday,
snap.
Marcus, if you want to go.
Okay. Hey,
But-
my sister, she tried to do it, and
It's hard, I heard.
yeah, she said it was insane. And then there was another one, it's called Insanity or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, my sister did that too, and she said that was truly insane.
True.
And I kind of want to do it, but I also kind of don't want to hurt myself, so...
Well, stuff like that too. Like I said, like you can go to the class with a friend, or you can even probably make friends in classes like that if you're going to meet every week. So I think that's a really cool way to exercise. It's not personally, I do like running because just listen to music and run.
Yeah, I think you're the only one.
Nah, a lot
Bye,
of people.
Kirsten.
A lot of people like running, but it's actually a lot of people run on the campus, which I think is
That's
funny.
true.
I would not do that.
There's always joggers everywhere, and it's impressive.
But literally for me, it's just I sometimes I just get the urge, like I'm doing homework and I'm like, well, I'm sitting here for so long, so I just listen to music and like go running because I'm too lazy to go all the way to the gym. And for me, it's like not that many people see me if I'm just running instead of going to the gym, so that's kind of a benefit.
True.
But it's really nice because then it's just like a break from homework, but also a really good way to take my mind off things. And
It's productive.
Yeah, wait, speaking of running, I gotta shout this girl out. I don't know what your name is. I don't even know who you are, but hey, there's this girl, right? I knew her since freshman year. Well, I knew of her, right? She would be running. Every time I would come back from class, every time I would go to class, go to work, come back from work, I would see her running all the time around Jennings Hall.
She okay?
It was crazy.
wait,
I mean,
in a circle?
yeah,
I
you know what I'm
remember
talking
the-
about?
I think I know too.
Yeah, that girl, she was running every day, all day. I don't even think she went to class. I don't think she actually
Was
went
she
to that
training for
school.
something?
The fact that we both know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, I shout you out. Respect for
Blonde
for
girl.
running so long. Like that's crazy. I mean, I give you mad props for that. And I know you ain't listening, but hey,
Maybe
on
she
the
is.
off chance that you are, you know who you are, and I give you some brownie points.
She literally would run in a circle, though. She would run around the building for hours.
Oh yeah, hours.
That's crazy.
Hours.
But
Right.
see, like that's not managing your time well. Like she probably has other things to do, and here she is running. So like, don't over exercise as well.
Unless she got a marathon to train.
I mean, I thought that
I
the girl
guess.
was gonna pass out just because. I mean, she was
would.
out there.
She's
for
also
so
very
long.
red. I remember that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. We know who we're talking about. It's
That's
the
so
same
funny.
person.
Stay
It's the same
hydrated.
person. Oh yeah, it's wild. But anyway,
But I guess we could say is find what kind of exercise you like.
That's true.
So,
I like biking a lot, actually.
yeah, biking is really good. I mean, here it's kind of some hills on campus
Yes.
and stuff.
no, hills are the best, man. You got to go down the hills.
Nope.
Marcus over here boards, so
Hey, longboarding is a lot of fun. If you can skateboard, definitely do that. I mean, walking is going to give you more exercise, in
Yeah.
my opinion, just because, I mean, you know, half the distance that you're going, I mean, you're not doing anything. You're just standing on the board. But, I mean, it's fun.
I mean, honestly though, when I've longboarded like up hills and stuff, well, especially here, like I said, hills, like that's a huge exercise point. And you have to remember people are driving and stuff, so it's not nothing.
Yeah, you'll get some exercise out of it, especially if you do it for long periods of time.
True.
I mean, you'll get messed up.
No, I feel like people, when they think of like physical health, they're like, oh yeah, exercise. But like there's also stuff like muscle toning and like, you know, even just like balance, like working on those skills. I think that's really cool. And something like boarding would definitely help with that.
Yeah, that's a good balance. Again, that works you out a lot is just trying to balance on the
Yeah,
board.
just agility, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Being
true.
outside. Kelsey watching us, she had to walk to the stadium.
Yeah.
So.
I have to climb the bleachers to sit on them.
What about weekends? Do you guys ever try and exercise on weekends, or is it kind of your break time? I feel like for a lot of kids in college, it's like, you know, they don't exercise in the weekends.
I don't know. I feel like I try to sometimes go out during the weekends, and when I'm out, I'm like, this is exercise because I'm not in bed. If we're being honest. So yeah, I don't know. Like, even if you're out having fun doing something, like if you go to like a club, not to bring up the club again on this podcast.
Nah, hit up the club,
but
baby.
if you go to the club, like that's great.
Okay.
Like, for workouts, like you sweat so much, it's kind of nasty.
She's right though.
But it's great. Like, just dance, have fun. Like, that's
No,
exercise.
seriously, like go to the club and actually dance. You feel me? Like,
Yeah.
don't go to the club, you know, just looking around. I mean,
Who
go
does that?
actually dance. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna get a workout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely do that. I mean, I go to the gym, so I try to go on Saturdays and Sundays because like those are the days that I have the most time since I'm not going to classes and whatnot. So I mean, I try to do that.
I think we didn't really mention this, but make time in your schedule. I think it's easy to be like, oh, I'll just do it whenever I have time, and then you'll never do it.
Right.
So again, maybe with the planning thing, write down at a specific time what time you want to work out. Obviously, holding yourself to that is a different story, but just look at your schedule and see what days would be best for you to work out and kind of when, and make sure, you know, if you work out late at night, you don't have early class the next morning, and just try and fit it in, even like 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, even like setting goals for the day, like not even a time, but like I know a lot of people will be like, oh, I want to walk 10,000 steps every day, and they'll just go and do that, and they'll find the time for it, and they'll like calculate it somehow. And I think even just doing that would be cool. And
Yeah,
very
that's on
helpful.
your iPhone, actually.
Yeah, there's like a step tracker.
Well,
I
God
feel like
bless
that's a mom
technology.
thing, though.
What?
That's a mom thing. My boyfriend's mom's always like, I walked 20,000 steps today.
True. No, I was reading Roger Ebert's autobiography, and he was like an old man, and he was like, I walk 10,000 steps a day. And that's where I got that from, actually. I was reading it last night.
Hey,
But
whatever
that's
works
smart.
for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he took pride in that.
He did. I would too.
All right, and then how about sleep? How do you guys sleep in college?
You don't.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
No, I think sleep is super important. And actually, I feel like I've actually gotten better about it, surprisingly. Like in high school, I slept like 2 hours a night, like 3 hours a night. It was really bad. And now I try to get like 7, 8 hours, if not more.
There's a huge thing about, I feel like it's cool not to sleep. And especially in college, like, oh, I only slept 2 hours last night.
Nope.
It's like, you have to grow out of that. When you get in college, please grow out of that.
Yo, you
'cause-
know what's funny is I feel like people will chastise you for stuff like that now. So like if you go up to somebody and you're just like, hey, I only got 2 hours of sleep last night, you know, they'd be like, hey, what's wrong with you, man?
Right.
Like, what's wrong with you?
It's like, that's not okay. You're going to die.
See, in my experience, people are like, well, oh, I got 1.5 hours. Like, it's a weird competition thing.
See, that was like high school to me. But I feel like once you're in college, like everyone's kind of like the elderly, and we're like, we need our sleep.
People are like, I stayed up.
Really?
I feel like there's a lot of procrastinators, and then they just do their homework all night.
That's true. But I feel like they're always like complaining about it. They're like, man, I only got like 2 hours of sleep. Like, it's not a cool thing. It's like, man, that sucks.
I guess when I had a coworker at Starbucks who was an architect major, and he claimed he got like 6 hours of sleep a week, and every day
wait, what?
Not
A
even
week?
joking, because architect you have to go into the studio all the
A
time.
lot, yeah.
You know, like you're literally there all night for a lot of the time. But he would drink like 5 shots of espresso a day, and just talk about it, and it was very strange, as if like he was this huge, really hard worker, I think kind of associated with not sleeping. Like, oh, I work harder. So, but you're going to burn out. Like Kelsey said before, you're going to burn out and you're not going to be as able to be as hard of a worker as you are now if you keep doing that.
Yeah, sleep deprivation like messes with your mind. Like you cannot function. Like you need sleep. So if you can get sleep, like push assignments aside or like go to sleep early and then wake up early and try to do whatever you need to do. Like just find ways to sleep. Even napping. Like napping's good.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, if they have like a 12:50 class, they'll be like, oh, I can wake up at noon and be fine. Which, that's fine, if that's how you are. But for me, if I wake up a few hours earlier and get some homework done, I feel so much better because I'm like, oh, I'll just go to class real quick and I can just finish up this homework because I started it already. So it's like kind of a motivational thing for me.
Definitely.
Yeah, gotta go to sleep on time. At least get the 7, 8 to 9, 7, 9.
Yeah.
I don't know, 7 to 9.
8, 9.
Yeah, well, I was 6 afraid of 7 because 7 got no sleep.
True.
So that was lame.
They were
Whatever.
grumpy.
But yeah, sleep is important, so you gotta get it. There's just what it is. Sleep deprivation can cause death, so gotta get sleep.
And I think people forget that their mood is vastly affected
Yes.
by sleep. If you do not have enough sleep, you are going to be grouchy, and people around you are going to notice, especially your job or something. So kind of doing yourself but others a favor as well if you get enough sleep.
And again, like it relates back to overall health. Like I don't know, it just affects how you process during the day. Like even like getting headaches. Like last night I got like a very bad sleep, and today I've had like not a migraine but like close to a migraine, and I've just felt like grouchy. And if that happens like over and over and over again, like eventually something is going to go wrong in your body and you will not be okay.
Might turn into the Hulk.
Exactly.
And sleep. Hulk sleeps. That's why he can do what he can.
It's true.
Yeah, he gets the good old 8 hours of sleep.
And I think, too, with the scheduling thing, like I said, of like 12:50, like a lot of people have classes at different times every day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to wake up at different times every single day, that's probably going to have a big effect on how you can get to bed at night. Because if you stay up late one night and then try to go to bed early, you're not going to be able to do it. So just the sleep schedule and the idea of the sleep schedule, on your iPhone, it has like a sleeping schedule thing you can even do, like sets an alarm to tell you when to go to bed and stuff. So you can try it out.
Also, I do not recommend sleeping pills, but there are like certain natural substances that you can use to like put yourself to sleep. Like I personally take melatonin because I have trouble falling asleep at night, and if I pop like one, then I'm out. I'm out in like 20 minutes.
She's popping.
And I just sleep really well through the night. But I know for some people like that doesn't work out, and the next morning they wake up like really groggy. But you have to find what's good for you and what works for you.
Man, that's wild. I feel so smart, man. I read about that in my psychology book just a couple days ago, man. That melatonin. Hey.
It's great.
See, it makes me really drowsy for the entire next day.
Yeah. See, some people are like that.
I'm a wimp.
I like it.
I just knock out. I'm just good like that.
You got nothing on your mind, Eva?
Nah, man. They say, actually, quick thing before we hit the next topic, but they say fantasizing about stuff will actually make you go to sleep easier. Like, if you just, like, go into some fantasy world, think about random stuff that, like, has nothing to do with your actual life, they say that helps you go to sleep.
Is that not what you do? Because that's what I do every night.
No, I think about stuff in my life that I'm, like, freaking out about. And that's why I can't sleep.
Yeah, I'll stress about it for a little bit, but then I'm like, okay, I need to, like, get into a dream, and I'll start thinking weird
That's
stuff.
so...
That's how I fall
No,
asleep.
it's crazy, but yeah, like, they say that it actually helps. It helps me.
Yeah. Or listen to podcasts. So if you're listening to sound advice and trying to go to sleep, shout out to
Good
you.
night.
Yeah, just listen to the soothing voices of Kelsey,
Really just
Kirsten,
yelling.
yours truly.
Hey, guys.
All right, and last kind of bit of health. Well, no, this is not the last bit of health. This is a juggling act still. We got doctor visits.
Dun, dun, dun.
How do you guys handle the time and effort to go to the doctor?
Well, first off, have you guys actually been to the doctor since you guys have been
Kelsey Bona,
here on campus?
probably going to die soon. She refused to go to the doctor.
I don't refuse to go to the doctor. I only go when it's serious. I'm actually planning on going this weekend because
She's been sick for 3 months.
I haven't been sick for
I'm
3
just
months.
kidding.
What?
No, I first of all, I think I have asthma, which is not good. And I feel like I've definitely had bouts of vertigo that were really bad. So I got to check that out.
Okay, that was a long time ago, too, and you didn't check it out.
But yeah, I got to go. I have a million things wrong with me.
Yeah.
So that being said, like this is a little bit hypocritical, but you should probably go to the doctor.
Yeah, you
For
should probably
checkups.
go to the doctor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. But literally, like I think it can help, and they can prescribe stuff and tell you what's wrong with you.
See, I went to the infirmary once, but it was just because I hurt my leg in soccer. But it was okay. I mean, obviously, you should really go to the infirmary because usually it's cheaper and stuff. But it was okay. It wasn't a great experience, but it was a lot more convenient than actually having to go to the doctor.
True.
I mean, it is a doctor, but off campus. So if you're really feeling messed up, you should go to your infirmary because most colleges have them.
Yeah, I remember I went to the infirmary twice since I've been on campus. First time I thought I was gonna die because I woke up coughing up blood. Right?
What?
Yeah, that was
What?
insane. That was
Sick.
pretty cool. That was
What?
pretty cool. But yeah, I was coughing up blood, so I went to the infirmary. I was like, "Yo, like, am I okay? Like, do I have the
No,
plague or
not
something?"
okay.
And then they're like, "Yeah, you're fine. I mean, you just had a nosebleed, and it just
Ew.
like went into your throat while you were sleeping."
Goodbye.
That's really bad. That could
Yeah.
kill you.
Time for me to leave.
But so I mean, that wasn't a big deal. It was cool. But and then the second time was just because I hurt my hand skateboarding. I hit this bike rack. Just didn't realize my hand was in the way, so I just slapped it while I was skating by. It just hurt. So they helped me out. But yeah, definitely go to the doctor when you need to.
Yeah.
Oh, and like just for basic stuff, I mean, have just regular checkups every now and then, just
Checkups
because
are
it's important. You know, it's important to make sure you're all right. Just get a checkup, even if everything's cool. I mean, it's good to confirm that you're cool. So
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
I think, in college, it's like, oh, I don't have time. Like, again, with the exercise thing, you're going to have time. It's a one-time thing every, I don't know how many months.
Let's say every 6 months. Why not?
Yeah, that's the average if you're not feeling.
We are not
Death.
medical professionals.
Yeah, don't take us for medical professionals.
Unsound advice.
But literally, it's going to take a few hours of your day, some day here or there.
Yeah.
So it's really beneficial. You should do it.
Yes, checkups are good, but especially if you think there is something wrong with you and you're concerned about it, like go alleviate like that stress because it's not good to carry that around and think like you're dying when you're really not, or maybe you really are, and you got to get it fixed.
Again, with this, the stress, like if you're already stressed about different things, that can lead to you kind of hurting, like getting sick or something, just like a stress sickness. And then you're stressed about that and why that's happening. So it really just piles up. If your physical health isn't good, then your mental health isn't going to be either.
All right, guys. So that brings us to our third segment. This one is our 2 cents this week, and we are going to talk about eating well, maybe on a budget, and not overindulging, because I feel like a lot of people do that. So, guys, how do you guys eat well?
Well, it took me forever to actually start eating well in college, personally. I think your freshman year, you're literally just going to eat what's there because most people don't want to cook or they kind of don't know how. So that was me. I went to the dining hall, which was, it was healthy depending on what you got. So not really healthy for me. But what I do now is, like I said earlier, I make lunch the night before. And since I'm on campus most of the time, like all day, I'll just have a lunchbox and I'll just eat whatever I brought, which is really nice because then I don't have to spend money every day, which is like a huge thing I'm trying to work on, is not, spending money every single day, which can really add up. So I think packing lunch is great. Breakfast is easy for me. You can just do cereal or, I think most people, they don't have too much for breakfast. And for dinner, I think when you're at the grocery store, just make sure you don't buy all the junk food and stuff. Like if you don't buy it, you're not going to be able to eat it, obviously.
Yeah, don't go shopping when you're hungry because you will buy a lot of stuff that you should not probably be consuming.
Yo, that is the truth. I mean, even when I go to restaurants, when I'm extra hungry, I'll just buy way more than I need, and then I'm just eating it. I'm like, wow, I bought too much stuff. And it's funny how you talked about your freshman year, Kirsten, because my freshman year was surreal, to say the least, when it came to food. Because my family, we used to hardly go out and eat food, so we'd always almost always get home cooking and stuff, which was great. I mean, it was delicious.
Yeah.
But then coming to college, and then all around you got Chick-fil-A's and Moe's and Panda Expresses, Wendy's everywhere. I mean, I went a little too hard with the fast food.
You still do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's better than it used to be. I used to go to Chick-fil-A every day, and I would get the chicken sandwich, large fry, and a milkshake, and I would pour extra salt on the fries.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was a savage.
You should
back
go to
in
the doctor,
day.
Marcus.
Hey, that was freshman
Like
year.
some-
I'm better now. I stopped doing that. I can't eat Chick-fil-A anymore. It makes me sick just even thinking about it. I
That's a good
overdosed.
point. A lot of kids, their parents cooked for them their whole entire lives, which is really great. And they come here and they're like, wait, but all this stuff is just ready for me. Like if I don't have to cook it and no one's cooking it for me, then I have to go buy food, and that's kind of the mentality of that.
True. Even like some families, like they raise their kids on fast food. Like I would say I was very much like a McDonald's kid, which was really bad.
Me too.
And it's like, so when you're in college, you kind of think that's the norm. But eventually, I think you get to a certain age where your body kind of tells you, like, hey, I'm not doing okay. Like, maybe you should eat something green right now. So I think if you kind of, like, listen to your body, especially when you're not hungry, like we mentioned, then you should, like, go to the store, buy some veggies, get a salad, or, like, even some fruit, or, you know, sometimes meat is good. Stuff like that.
Sometimes meat is good.
Every now and then, you know.
Not too much.
Every now and then.
But again, like, not too much. Like, the indulgence thing. Like, you should do everything in moderation. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, I don't say I eat great, but I will say I eat better.
Yeah.
I mean, like I definitely eat better. Like I just cut a lot of things out of my diet that were just completely unnecessary, and like just made my my health better. Like chips in general. Like I just stopped eating those. Like I don't eat Doritos, Lay's, all that stuff. I just stopped eating it. And then stuff like sodas, like just stop drinking those. And then like that's a lot of sugar that you just cut out of your diet. That's a lot of just unnecessary food that you're eating. That I mean that you have space for other stuff now, like better stuff, like salad. True. But yeah, I mean if there's something that you're eating or drinking that is just it's unnecessary and you could definitely give it up, then just give it up. I mean just it's that easy. Now if if it's hard for you, then try to give it up slowly, because they say slow progress is the only way to make progress. But if there's stuff that you're just doing it because you're like, what the heck, and you're like, I don't even care about it, then it shouldn't be too hard to just stop doing it.
They say, this is probably, most people have heard this, but after 30 days of either doing something or not doing something, it becomes a habit. So if you challenge yourself, like, all right, 30 days, I'm not going to drink soda. Like, see how it is after the end. It just kind of comes down to willpower, which is extremely hard for most of us. Yeah. But especially in college, because a lot of times for your friends, once you go out to eat or do something, which is awesome, can spend time with them. But don't be uncomfortable with saying, I ate, but I can just sit with you and we can talk, or I can get a water or something. Like, don't be afraid to be like, to say yes, but then not order food.
Yeah. Or like find a healthier option on the menu.
Yeah, for sure.
But on the lines of indulgence, I don't know, I have recently heard this like pretty good advice, although it sounds like such common sense, but it's basically like, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. And I think obviously like everybody thinks like, of course, yeah, I do that. But I think a lot of people have a hard time telling even when they're hungry and when they're full. Like people will like eat the entire plate of food, not thinking like, wow, my stomach's about to explode. And also like if you're not hungry, like maybe you're just bored and you'll like grab a snack or something. Like that's probably not the best thing to be doing. So I think if you learn to recognize when you are hungry and when you are full, you can eat better and eat less.
Yeah, like for example, if you're out buying food, a lot of people are like, well, if I don't eat all of this now, it's going to waste, which I totally get, but take it home, or, if the other person wants to take it home or something, like, don't force yourself to eat it right there just because it's there. You can always eat it later, or like, you can always do something with it. So don't be like, oh, it's just in front of me, so I'm going to have to eat it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's like 3 different levels of like fullness, I guess. Like there's eating till you're stuffed, eating till you're full, and then eating till you're satisfied. So it's like, I mean, ideally, like you want to eat till you're satisfied and you're just not even hungry, where it's like you're not full, but you're just not hungry, so you don't really desire food. But most of us will eat till at least we're full, And I mean, and that's just, I mean, I don't blame y'all. I mean, I do the same thing. So, but I think they say ideally you just want to eat till you're satisfied, and then like it'll force you to eat like more times during the day because you're not just completely full. But then, like, the more times you're eating just with less portions, it's just healthier for you. I don't know what diet that is, but
yeah, I've heard that, where you eat 5 smaller meals throughout the day instead of like 3 huge meals. Because I think a lot of college kids, like, they'll like skip breakfast and then be like, oh, I'll eat so much tonight, it's fine, going out to dinner, and they get in the routine of, and their metabolism obviously is going to go down. So I think my lunch thing, I'll eat a snack at like 10 and then the sandwich at like noon, and just kind of snack throughout the day. And I think once you get in the habit of doing that, you'll realize how much better you feel. And I think there's a difference between being full from unhealthy food and healthy food. If I have Chick-fil-A, I'm full, but I also feel kind of, like Marcus said, sick or weighed down. But if I like make myself a salad for dinner, I feel really good after that. So there's a difference.
That's very true. And I think another thing a lot of people tend to do, which I think is personally harmful, is like calorie counting stuff. Like if you're obsessed with that, like you probably have some kind of like bigger issue. And I don't think it's like necessary to completely track like every single thing that you consume, but it is important to like at least be aware of what you're eating throughout the day. Like if you know you had like a huge breakfast, like you maybe take it easier during like later in the day, or like vice versa. But I don't know, a lot of people will be very specific about what they're eating, and I think that can lead to like eating disorders. And we were going to relate this back to like mental health stuff. Like there's always like bulimia and like binging and anorexia and all these problems. Like, I don't know, I feel like dietary culture is so harmful and toxic, and it can lead to these things. And if you are experiencing that, like you should probably seek help.
Well, there's I don't know if you guys know this, but social media accounts just based on anorexia and pictures of girls who are anorexic, and oh look, it's the captions are so bad too. It's like if you don't eat a cookie, you could look like this, or I don't know, so skinny.
Yeah.
What's the quote? Skinny feels better than food, or something.
Man,
And
I've never heard of that. That's crazy.
yeah. And a lot of young girls find these accounts. You know, their parents don't know, obviously, their friends don't know, and they just look at it every day. And even if, like, I don't know, it could even start out as, like, harmless, like, oh, this is kind of weird account. And then it can evolve into something else where they're actually trying to do it or something. That's a little different than college, but still, like, if you know anyone that you might think has that problem, or if you're going down that route at all, like, I think kind of going back to, you know, talk to the people around you, especially when at food. I feel your friends are gonna try and be there for you. Like no one wants to see you go through that, you know. So,
I mean, what's interesting about anorexia and bulimia and stuff like that is that those are really, I feel like those are more problems that when it comes to helping people, you have to be the one if you're the friend of the person, it's more of like a spectator sport when it comes to helping people. Because like an anorexic person will look at themselves in the mirror and think that they're fat.
Yeah,
So it's like they literally cannot even help themselves because they don't see themselves as a problem, you know? Or like the problem that they see is not the problem that they actually have. So if you see somebody like that, then it's like it's more kind of up to you to help them or to help them get help, you know what I mean? So it's interesting. I mean, it's just really interesting.
I think that's an issue with like any mental health problem. Like if you know somebody who's going through it, like honestly, the only person who can like help them is themselves. And like you can be like support for them and encourage them and like guide them to different things, but in reality, like in the end, they're the only person who can make the change and like better themselves. And that sucks to hear, especially if like you care about somebody going through something. But I mean, that's the reality of it. Like they have to help themselves.
so stay healthy, guys.
Yeah. And if you know people, like you can help them. But again,
I like what Marcus said. If help them get help. If you feel helpless yourself, you can help them get better help than what you can offer.
Exactly.
All right. Well, on that sad note, we do have a viewer question today
Whoop, whoop.
from Bella P.
Bella P, shout out.
What up, girl?
All right. How do I get rid of a cold I've had for 4 weeks?
Uh-oh, girl.
Girl, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
What have we said this whole time?
Listen to us. But it's true. Go to the doctor, get some meds.
And I think maybe if you're you're a college student, I'm imagining. But if you're going to school every single day, going to work every single day, that kind of is going to have a toll on how much you get better. You know, if you don't rest, if you only rest at like your normal sleeping hours, that's not going to do anything for you. You need to rest more than that.
Definitely.
More than you usually would. Take that Airborne.
True.
Or Mucinex. All that stuff I feel like really works. So if you stick with it, how it directs you to.
Yeah, and of course, drink your orange juice and chicken noodle soup, all
This is
that
like
good stuff.
really bad advice, but yeah, 4 weeks is a really long time. So definitely go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this might be bigger than something you could treat anymore.
True.
I mean, it might not be a cold.
It could be like pneumonia. Like I know that sits in people's lungs for a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Pneumonia
something
is
serious.
That's terrible.
Sorry, girl.
But again, like kind of like a recap of everything we've said. Like sleep, eat healthier. Be less stressed. Like stress can cause sickness.
Be less stressed.
And it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. And if you're concerned about it, yeah, go to the doctor, girl.
I mean, seriously, like they say stress is the silent killer. I mean, they say I forget which one it is. It might be CHD. you might be able to get CHD just from stress, cancer and stuff, just coronary heart disease.
Oh, dang.
Oh,
Like
wow.
you might be able to get like coronary heart disease and cancer just from stress. I mean, it's just wild. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's hard, but you just got to try to keep the stress levels low
Mm-hmm.
and keep your happiness up.
We actually have a coworker who was so stressed that she broke out in shingles, and she's like pretty young.
Seriously?
Yeah. And again, she didn't seek help like to a doctor for a very long time. So by the time she went and figured out what it was like too late to really cure it on time. So she had shingles for like 3 months.
Yeah, and she was just about to graduate and stuff, which is obviously very stressful. You
Yeah.
don't want to deal with the doctor. But you're going to save yourself so much time and effort if you do it right now instead of waiting for 4 weeks, Bella.
Yep.
But seriously, don't just wait it out because, I mean, it depends on how you feel, but a lot of times waiting it out does not lead to anything good.
In
And it
the
just prolongs
words
it.
of Shia LaBeouf, just do it.
So loud.
And wash your hands, girl. Like, you could be carrying some more stuff.
She's assuming that you don't wash your hands.
No, I'm just saying, like, do
Don't
it more.
pass it on to anybody
Be very,
else.
no, when you're sick, you have to be very hygienic.
Get away from us, basically.
No. We hope you feel better, Bella. Check yourself out.
We're so insensitive.
No.
Yeah,
Bella,
make
we
sure you
love
don't come anywhere around us.
I'm just telling her that's a thing.
On that note, I think we're done for today, guys.
Yeah. We talked
Oh,
about
quick.
health. Hey.
Yes, apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Keep that sound
But you
advice
need to go
away.
to the doctor, so don't keep the doctor away. But eat healthy anyway.
Eat your greens.
And your apples.
I'm Kels. Nope, I'm not Kels.
Kirsten had an identity crisis for a second.
Why did I say that?
No, keep that in there. Keep that in there.
Just kidding, guys. I'm Kirsten.
I'm Kelsey.
Yeah, it is your boy Marcus.
Thanks for tuning in. See ya.
All right, peace out.